back to episode 2 of Ruby and Friends. If you guys did miss it, last week was the episode with Evan Photos, a very, very talented photographer from the Chicagoland area. This week, for this episode, we have a talented filmmaker, Darius Baker, my man. Yes, sir.
What's up, my boy?
Waiting for the cue, my man.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm about to crack my back on this bad boy.
Miss these, bro.
Oh, you know what? Let me get you a drink. Hold on. I know you got your water bottle and everything, but
I appreciate it, bro.
there we go. Now that we got the drinks, we're good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So now we're sitting down. Let me crack my back. Did I crack? Is yours gonna crack?
For sure. A little bit, nothing too crazy, nothing too crazy.
Not too much. All right, so we got Darius Baker, a filmmaker. So, let's start from the beginning. So you do a lot of your work in the Aurora, Chicagoland area.
Yes, sir.
Were you born and raised here, or were you born somewhere else and then came here at a young age?
No, I was born in Maywood, Illinois, so just outside the city.
Right.
And moved around a little bit. So I was in Aurora for a little bit, originally. Then I moved to Lyons. It's kind of like by Brookfield.
Okay.
A
little bit.
So always in the Chicagoland area, and then now we're back in Aurora. So always been around. So basically shooting the surroundings and stuff.
So you're very familiar with this area right here.
Yeah, no, this specific area is one of my favorite spots.
Right, so let's talk about that actually. When I DM'd him about doing an interview on you, I was like, let's choose a place that's very sentimental, just very close to you, and you brought us to this beautiful place.
Yes.
Shout out to Mannequin, if you guys want to name her.
Shout out to the Mannequin.
So let's talk about this place, right?
Yeah.
Why is this place so special to you?
Originally when I moved here, bro, it was very hard for me to find places to film.
Right.
Especially if you go to the city, everyone wants to do the ton of city shots and all the action and the fast pace. But it's very hard to do that and develop your style at the same time. You're always running into cars or people or permits, you gotta ask permissions. And then a lot of times to rent out places, it costs a ton of money. So I used to just do a lot of driving, bro. When I first got here, I would literally just go out on the road and drive for like an hour straight up. Just no destination in mind. We just go. In the middle of the night, just do it. Just figure it out.
Right. That's that Midwest shit for real.
I'm saying it's exactly that. You just love driving.
Right, 100%.
So I stumbled across this place, which actually isn't that far from me, like 20, 30 minutes into the drive. And it went from just taking a walk to I was like, let me just bring my camera here and just record myself or anything like that. So the more I started doing shoots here, it's like nobody's around. I could shoot for hours and hours and you'll never see a single soul.
Right.
You never run into any cars, so there's no worries like permits or any of that sort of thing. And it also helped, I'm a very religious person, so it helped be able to come out here and just vent or pray to help rebuild my relationship with God. So it has two deeper meanings for me. And it's just been a huge part of my process. Whenever I need to get away, I come here. Or if I'm in a creative rut, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I come here, it's very sentimental to me.
Right.
It's been integral in my whole creative journey.
It's like a place for you to kind of ground yourself.
100%. Every single time I need to. If it's feeling too much,
Right.
I come here and then it solves all my problems, bro. Honestly.
You brought us to a beautiful place, but it's gonna be a good video.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
I'm a big nature guy, so this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Okay, so you said you grew up in this area. So how was that? You had a good mixture of kind of the city, and you had a good mixture of places like this. How was it growing up in an area like this?
I mean, honestly, I love it. I don't really have I feel like it's nice to get a bit of both. Because just like you, I'm a nature person. I do like nature. I'm not fully just 100-mile hikes sort of nature. Right. I'm not that type of nature. Right. But I definitely like going for walks.
100%.
I like going through a little forest preserves and all that sort of thing. But it's nice to be able to go and get the city aspect if I needed that, but then to step back and also have just this open space. So it's been huge for that. But I don't have any complaint. I was I love having the balance.
100%. Yeah, I like it too. Okay, cool. So as a kid, that that you want to grow up to be a filmmaker, or is this something that you kind of found love for as you were growing up?
Growing up, I wanted to go to the league, bro.
Right.
I was trying to hoop.
Right.
I was trying to hoop. I love basketball. I still love basketball to this day. But I've always liked cameras. It wasn't, something that I was necessarily trying to make a career out of at the time or had the dreams and aspirations, but I always loved cameras from a very young age. And movies have always been a huge part of my life. My mom was the first one to put a camera in my hands.
Shout out moms.
Yes, shout out moms. And she gave me a Nikon D3200. I first found my love through photography. It was 2016, so my sophomore year of high school. And it was just having that class where we were able to mess around with it. You're doing all the little funky projects of just duplicating yourself or just Photoshop, learning all that sort of thing. And I knew from that point on, I was like, man, I can actually do something with this camera. Because I did sports my whole life and I've always been a bit of an artistic kid, but never really expressed it too much.
Right.
It was always kind of the hidden, if I have art class, I would try my hardest, on the low, but I'm really ready for basketball practice after. But it was through that class where I started to build it, the passion for it outside of school. So that's grabbing some of my friends and just taking photos and building that sort of side up until 2020 when I started looking more into filmmaking, some more on the video side of things, going on YouTube, finding all these different type of vloggers and like, you know, that whole cinematic style.
Right.
So then I started, okay, how can I transition into this?
Would you say that you like film over photography because like you're really able to give film like a feel? Like you could really tell a whole story, make people cry, make people anxious, happy, all through something as short as a 5-minute film. Would you say that that's something that you love the most about being a filmmaker?
100%. I feel like the ceiling is just, for me personally, it's so much higher in film.
Right.
You can tell so many stories, you know. A photo tells 1,000 words. You know, they
100%.
always say that. But
A video tells a million.
exactly, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
And a lot of points in my life, I can identify a movie with that. You know, if I think about, a movie that I liked growing up, I can almost imagine that point in my life at that time. And to be able to feel that deeply about it is something like I quickly had a hunger for, you know?
Right.
It's like to be able to make people feel that sort of way in the theater. I have a ton of like memories of just me being in the theater being like, man, like, that was like, you feel that.
Right.
You feel that. You get the
100%.
goosebumps. It's like all of that. So it's like that journey of trying to like do that for yourself. The fact that you're able to make people feel something through something that came straight up from your creativity, there's nothing that compares to that. There's nothing that compares to that. Not a thing in the world, bro.
Right.
And I think ever since then, I've just been hooked on filmmaking. I love films, dude. I love films.
Good. We'll get back to that about you loving films. We'll get back to that here in a little bit.
Yeah.
So next question. So something that really shapes a person's life is family at a young age.
Yes.
Right? I grew up without a father in the household. That definitely affected me in terms of like, I'm a little bit more in touch with my feminine side, you know? So what was your household like growing up? Were both parents in the picture? Was it only mom? Was it only dad?
So growing up, my parents were separated before I was born, but I've always had a relationship with both of them. I actually, in our home in Maywood, we used to live across the street from my family. So
okay, cool.
I lived with my mom, but I could see my dad's side from across the street.
Right.
So it's such like a little weird dynamic that way, but no, I've always had a relationship with both sides. So it's helped me grow a ton, but I've been closer with my mom.
Right.
My mom's my best friend. I attribute a lot of that to her. Like, you know, I do lean towards my mom's side, but I also have had, you know, the baker side, you know, that's been everything for that. But growing up, I had a great childhood. I had a great childhood, man. The family dynamic is strong. There's a ton of creatives in the family, you know. It's always been that love, so I've always been motivated and just guided in my journey.
Right.
I've always been supported throughout my entire life.
That's a blessing, man. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you. I'm grateful for it.
Do you think that your family played a role into you becoming who you are right now in terms of a filmmaker?
100%. 100%. Even, like I said, like throughout, I was mostly into sports growing up, you know. But my artistic side was always nurtured. You know, growing up, like my first love was drawing. So I used to draw like, dude, I used to be obsessed with shoes. I was in the shoe game, like, heavy. So like I used to draw just like endless designs of Air Force Ones, like just all day, different design. And that was always something that was like huge for me, but it was always supported. Like my mom would go and be like, oh, that's amazing. You know, hang it up on the fridge. Like everybody wants to get up on the fridge. The fridge is fire. So no, like that's been from the jump. And then for my filmmaking journeys, you know, my mom was, she was the first one to put that camera in my hand.
Right.
But after that, she's always been real with like giving me advice on my growth. There was no sugarcoating it. It was like, do you think this is good?
Right. And that's a blessing.
Yes.
That is a huge blessing. Right.
Huge, because a lot of people, it doesn't help that you don't tell them the truth, like creative criticism.
100%.
So it was always just that feedback, that honest feedback of like, oh, okay, maybe you could do better in these sort of departments, you know?
Did that ever make you feel like down about yourself, or did it always was like, dang, like, okay, I can get better?
No, I was never really down about it. I think it was because of the way it was delivered. My mom was very like intentional with her words.
Right.
She will always be like, okay, well, these are good things that you did here, but what's the goal? Like, and show like a reference, you know, what's the reference? Okay, if you want to get here, then maybe you have to do these things differently. So there was always the way of like knowing how to improve.
Right.
Because it's been from the beginning. Like even when I transitioned into video, I would ask her opinion. I'm like, hey, like, what do you think about these clips? Or like, how do you feel about this project? And to this day, she's my critic. Yeah, she's my artist critic. You know, I take her advice over anything. But even when I'll be like, man, this is my best video for the time, it's like she still has that gentleness to be like, he's gonna grow. Like, this is nice. And like, I can genuinely tell when I've like impressed her or not. I'll be like, oh, okay. She'll be like, no, like you really did your thing on this one. This one is genuinely like, I can tell all the time, but it's always been very consistent with that. So it's helped nurture my film growth.
Oh, that's lit, man. That's so amazing that you were able to have that as a young kid. I think that, I know for a fact that definitely helped you become as good as you are today.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you're a very religious person.
Yes.
Which is amazing because I also have a belief. So my first question that I have is, when it comes to the religion, is Jesus Christ the one you put your faith on, or is it someone else, another
Jesus
religion?
Christ. 100%.
Good. Now to I said good.
Yeah.
Now good. Shout out Jesus, bro. He's the
Shout
realest.
out J-Man. Shout out
For
J-Man.
real. So let's talk about that. Do you remember the point in time where you were like, you know what, like Jesus Christ is the way, or was it more of like a slowly but surely thing? Did you grow up believing it? Like, talk to me about how you came to your faith with Jesus.
So I grew up in the church. You know, my grandmother worked at a church before I was born. You know, she's been there as long as like anybody's ever known, you know, a good chunk of her life. So from birth, it's always been get ready to go to church. You know, it's like we would always do that every single Sunday. As a kid, like church isn't the most fun thing you want to do, you know?
100%.
And you know, I don't know, like, you know, black churches, we be there all day.
And you guys be lit. I've been.
But 4 or 5 hours, bro, like you there all day, especially because my grandma worked there.
Right.
So we were there extra time,
100%.
you know? So I had that from my early childhood, you know, probably until like, you get to like the middle school age, then you start, you know, doing your own thing a little bit there.
Right.
But always had the belief, even though I wasn't immediately in the church every Sunday, you know, and I rediscovered that last summer. Last summer, I was just going through a lot creatively. I was trying to figure a lot of things out of my life, and a lot of lines were blurred. And I just felt myself being called back to like God. It was like, hey, like maybe we need to tap back into this side. Because a huge thing was that I had never been baptized. When I was born, my mom wanted that to be my decision.
Okay.
You know, because a lot of people do it at birth with the babies, you know.
Right.
And she was like, no, I want him to decide for it for himself when, you know, he gets to that point in his life, if he decides, you know.
Right.
So I decided last summer that I wanted to. After everything that was going on in my life, I actually made that decision out here. I was literally just walking, yes, in this spot.
Right.
I was literally just walking around, and I was just like, you know what? I think it's time.
Right.
So I got baptized this past March. It's been a beautiful experience getting back to where I used to be, you know, in this whole spiritual journey.
Where did you get baptized?
I got baptized at Rock of Ages Church in Maywood.
Okay.
So it's the hometown church. It's the same one I grew up in.
Right. It's
My
all
grandma,
circled back.
you know, still there. So it's funny because you see all the old ladies there. They're like, oh my goodness, this is you. Like, you know, this whole time, like, and it was even more special because it's like all these people that grew up, you know, I grew up around, you know, they saw me come to this point in my life.
Right.
And they're like, oh, it's beautiful to see that you've come back around and, you know, you went back to the family church, you know. I love that place, I do.
What is the biggest change you've noticed since you came back to your faith?
The biggest change I noticed was, I think it was just getting rid of that doubt. You know, I fully believe that we're all put here for a purpose.
Right.
And that we're all given different gifts. And, you know, a lot of times in the freelance journey, it's very tough to know if you're on the right path. You truly never know. And because there's no one way of getting there. Every single filmmaker, if you ever look up, has had a different journey. Some went to film school, some were doctors and then became filmmakers. Like, you know, you never know where it goes. And in times like that, it's whenever I feel lost in that sense, I would go to God. I was always big in prayer, you know, every morning, every night, sometimes throughout the day, you know, and I found through prayer is that it's relieved of a lot of that stress about what's next, you know. It's all about the next day and the next day, you know, just get through the next time. Just keep pushing forward and God always has a plan for you. So that's helped tremendously with the entire process. It's just in knowing that I'm walking stronger with God now has helped the entire thing. Because, you know, I've always believed, but the fact that you're actually doing the due diligence, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to church, I'm praying, I'm doing all these sort of things. So it's been huge. It's been huge, man. I'm so grateful for my relationship with God.
100%. I love that, man. Amen, bro. God bless you, bro.
Amen. Bless you.
So earlier you had mentioned that you love cinema and you love film.
Yes.
So as a filmmaker, I'm going to assume that there's been a lot of movies that you've watched and that there's probably some that really just hit you a little bit different and made you appreciate the art a little bit more, right? So let's choose 2 movies. Tell me what movies they were and tell me what you liked about them.
My love for movies started with Toy Story. That was my entire childhood.
100%.
I had all the toys. I literally used to dress up as Buzz Lightyear. Like, I swore I was him, you know? You remember when he jumped off the balcony or like he jumped off the stairs and he thought he could fly, you know? Sort of thing?
Right. Or was it the bed? Was it?
No, it was like,
you know,
like they went in the hallway and it was like a little, like the railing.
Right. You're right.
Dude, that alone, tried it.
Tried it. That is crazy.
Absolutely tried it. I swore, man. That was like where my love for it began. And ever since then, I've just been huge on like Disney and Pixar. Like I grew up with that. Like all those movies, Cars. I was hooked on Cars, bro.
Shout out. Cars is golden.
Cars, bro.
Cars is golden.
I loved everything like Disney put out, man. Like that was just my earliest memories of like, I love movies. I had birthday parties in movie theaters for to watch Toy Story like 1 and 2.
Right.
Back to back. back. You know, like it was so huge for me. But I want to say a second movie as I've gotten older. My favorite movie right now is Fantastic Mr. Fox. Wes Anderson, one of my favorite directors. It kind of has that like unassuming quality. It's like when you look at it, if you just walk past and look at the screen and see it, you would think it's just some kid's movie, you know? But it's like way deeper than that.
Right.
And I'm super into movies that are just misleading from the front. It comes off very simple, but there's a lot of hidden messages in it. And like Fantastic Mr. Fox is like, man, you look at it, like it's just animals, silly, you know?
Right.
But it's huge on like existentialism, finding your place in the world, and also like whether you accept that or not. So by far, like that's where I am right now. But Toy Story was definitely the beginning of that.
I kind of want to add on to that because like a movie that I really like that I think is very similar to the one you're talking about, the Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
Is Soul. Have you seen Soul?
Soul.
The Disney movie?
Soul. Yes, Soul. Soul is amazing.
Is a good movie.
That's one of the ones too. That's up there for me.
100%.
That's up there for me. Soul. Yes. Joe Gardner. Yes.
Is that the one is he the guy that directed it?
Joe Gardner. No. I'm actually not sure who directed Soul.
Who's Joe Gardner?
Joe Gardner's the main character in Soul.
Oh,
the dude.
Okay.
So that movie changed the way I saw like the way you even picture like the afterlife or before.
Right.
I love movies like that.
100%.
They challenge your way of thinking. Like think about how like Inside Out.
Inside Out.
That changes the way I viewed emotions.
Right.
I'm like, man, that's when you know you did a really good job with a film.
100%.
You changed the way people live their lives.
Right.
But it's amazing. I love Soul, dude. I love Soul.
Shout out Disney, bro. It sucks that kids that are at this point in time, you know, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, they'll truly never get to experience like that golden era of Disney where it was like the it girls. It was like Selena Gomez or it was, you know, Hannah Montana or whatever. So it's truly a lost type of media that I'll cherish forever. I'm glad you got to experience it as well.
Man, Disney, I love it. What was your favorite Disney movie?
Lion King is definitely one of the top ones.
OG, classic.
Right, classic.
Can't go wrong.
But I'd say that Tarzan is definitely like
Tarzan.
For multiple reasons. One is the soundtrack is insane.
Okay,
first of all.
That's Phil Collins.
Is that it?
Phil Collins. I think Phil Collins did that one. Yeah.
I used to, and I still have the biggest crush on Jane. Shout out Jane.
Yeah,
bro.
okay.
Jane is beautiful.
The OG crush.
The OG crush. And then
Dude.
people tell me all the time that I look like Tarzan now, you
It's
know.
the hair.
I'm not 6'3" with, you know, 220 pounds of muscle, but
for sure.
it's the hair for sure.
The hair's the hardest part to get.
Right.
The hair's the hardest part to get, man.
Right, I could take roids for the rest, so I'm chilling.
Easy.
Easy. All right, so now let's get into your career. So you said that you started experimenting with film in 2020, you said?
2020.
You said your mom put the first camera in your hand, which was for photography.
Yes.
When you moved into filmmaking, which was the first camera that you purchased yourself to be like, okay, let me put some work in?
First camera I used was a Sony A6000.
Do you still have that camera?
I do not have the A6000 anymore. I wish I did.
Right.
That would have been good. But no, the A6000, because I think when I first started looking to it, that era of YouTube, you know, you start looking up camera reviews and what's the best camera.
Right.
Impossible to find the best camera. I always tell people that now because they be like, oh, like what's a good camera to buy? Anything.
Right.
At that point, there's so many cameras, dude. But Sony, I've been with Sony since. And I love Sony. I shoot on Sony now.
Right.
But the A6000 was the first one because it was like, I could still do my photo stuff, but it also had video features. Weren't the best video features,
right?
But it was something. It was a start. So, no, it's just been, I think that was the first one I did. And then after I got a Sony A7.
Okay.
So their first truly like hybrid camera.
Right.
And yeah, I want to say that was like 2020.
Shout out to 2020. That was a crazy year. So
crazy year. Oh my goodness.
This just came to me right now. So it's so crazy that happened in 2020 because I feel like for so many people, 2020 was such a breakthrough year when it comes to careers or whatever.
Yeah.
I know other stories from other people that 2020 was the year like they started selling shoes or they started a business, whatever, blah blah blah. So I low-key 2020 was a blessing in disguise for a lot of people.
It was.
100%.
It was. It forced people to, a lot of creators.
Right.
It forced you to really go out and just churn out stuff. You're just in the house, so you have to do something.
100%.
So that's how I started experimenting with a bunch of different videos.
So you started in 2020, so you've been producing films for roughly about 5 years now.
Yes.
What do you enjoy the most about being a filmmaker?
Man, that's a good question. That's a great question. The thing that I love most about being a filmmaker is that in a way you're able to show people how you see the world. You know, you could set 10 people in front of a building.
Right.
And they will all see it in different ways.
100%.
They'll all look at it in different sort of angles. If you gave me and you a camera and say, hey, take photos of this mannequin right now.
Right.
There will be completely different shots, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's just this way of bringing people into your world to be able to be like, hey, this is how I view these things, you know? A huge thing that led for me, which like goes back to another movie, was Napoleon Dynamite.
Shout out. Oh,
Napoleon Dynamite.
Funny movie.
So hilarious movie, but I think it was shot in like Nebraska or something, bro.
Right.
Like it was just so like Kansas or something. It was just so random. The entire movie is random, but it's all so simple. If anybody were to just look at that town or like just these random fields and all this sort of thing, they would think this boring, there's nothing there. And through that filmmaker, he was able to create a cult classic through just the everyday like mundane life. So that was something I'm like, oh, like that's crazy.
Right.
You know, that's in my backyard. I can literally go and do that. So I think from there just led me to start tapping into that and trying to learn how to like, how can I show people this is what I see every day? That there's beauty in these things and not everything isn't just, you know, the big city or like you're just going somewhere with like gorgeous mountains and all these sort of things, you know? I feel like a lot of that gets lost in being in the Midwest. Everybody says it's kind of boring, cornfield, like everything is just flat, you know? But I've learned to love that. I've learned to love that from like a very young age. That's always been like, man, I love this place. Like, you know, I have seen the world and loved all these other things as well, but it always has a special place in my heart.
I'm glad you said that. This is something that even I think about. Like, there's just a bunch of cornfields, like ain't nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And then I had some cousins visit from Vegas not too long ago. Vegas is a desert. There's nothing there. They came over and they loved it. They're like, there's so much green here. Like it's so pretty. Like Vegas is nothing like this, and they absolutely fell in love with it. And it made me realize, like, damn, like I've always found beauty in nature, so I've always thought it was pretty.
Yes.
But I didn't think it was anything special, but the truth is that it is something special. Like even just this right now.
Yes.
I was telling you about this before we started recording. I was like, bro, I love this like Midwestern feel to it. So
yeah, there's the tall grass. Like, dude, I've always loved that.
Right.
I've always loved that, dude. It's underrated.
Underrated, 100%.
It's underrated. You know, that's why I say I love everything in nature. I'm big on greenery, and that's shown in a lot of my work. I do a lot of run and gun, like outside element sort of thing. I do a lot of that. And it's not because of, I think it comes down to preference. I truly just love having a lot of like nature elements in my videos.
So when you first started filmmaking back in 2020, did you know either consciously or subconsciously that you were eventually going to end up producing such high quality films as you are right now? Or did you go in it kind of like blind with no expectations?
So I had expectations from the jump.
Right.
You know, I wanted to keep up the same quality that I was getting from my photography. You know, I had put a lot of years into becoming a better photographer, you know, and I didn't want to switch over and just have it be like, I knew it was going to be a learning curve, but I definitely didn't want to, I had goals in mind for it.
Right.
I had a ton of goals in mind for it. I was like, okay, this is like where I want to get to. I want to be able to make this high quality. You know, I was watching a lot of movies, like my movie taste changed. So I was like, man, like this is the goal. And, you know, I noticed from when I really started putting out videos, so I want to say around my third or fourth video, I really sat there and like, I was just sitting in my room and I was thinking about it. And, you know, my mom, so huge supporter.
Right.
She comes in and she's talking to me and she's like, well, like what do you want to do with this? You know, like it seems fun and like, you know, fine and dandy and all that, but like, what is the goal here?
Right.
And in my head, like right there, I decided, I was like, I want to win an Oscar. That's the ultimate goal. So from then on, I'm like, okay, well, this is the goal and everything else has to align to this.
Right.
I have to work my hardest to be able to put out a certain level of quality. I have to work on all the aspects of film. I have to immerse myself fully, do the research, put in day out and constantly practicing with that.
I love that. So let's go back to what you said about you started with photography first, right?
Yes.
So someone that you worked very closely in the beginning of your career was Tuned Beauties.
Tuned Beauties.
Right. Shout out Tuned Beauties.
Tuned Beauties. Shout out to Tuned Beauties.
So was that like the first kind of business that you collaborated with? And talk to me about how working with Tuned Beauties really opened up doors for you.
Dude, so Tuned Beauty started off as myself and my friend Milo.
Okay, shout out Milo.
Shout out Milo. So that was really us in high school when we got super into cars. And we were like, dude, like we just want to be around cars. We don't want to talk to people. We want to learn how to get all these like, you know, dream cars that we want one day. So from that on, we started doing the whole like sort of car crew thing, but we were really just taking like photos of cars. Like we would pull up it was just started off in parking lots. Like, man, this is a nice car right here. Do a full photo shoot for this guy. Like he's probably in there shopping. Like he has no idea his car is getting a full photo shoot right now. But it was was amazing for practice, you know, going to car meets and cruises and doing all these sort of things. So it really helped me being able to talk to clients. I think that was my first experience with, hey, selling something to somebody, selling my own art, my own creativity to somebody, which was a hard thing to do. And I want to say we were 17, 18 at the time.
Still kids, young
Still kids. So it's a scary thing.
Right.
You know, going up to all these people and be like, hey, like, you know, you want me to take pictures of your car? Or like, you know, just doing it and tagging. But that was my very first experience with starting something for my own and pushing my creativity forward. Because, you know, like I said, I did things on the side and, you know, would always like indulge in that. But Tune Beauties was the first time I really put forth like, this is my art to the world. You know, for everyone to see, and this is who I am as a person.
It was like the first chapter for you.
It was the first chapter in my creative journey.
All right, so let's go back to film.
Okay.
Right? So it's not anything new that practice makes perfect.
Yes.
But talent definitely helps. When you first started filmmaking, did you know that you had an eye for this type of thing? Or did you start like at a 60 overall, so to say?
The brown shirt. The brown shirt. I think in my head I've always had an eye for it.
Right.
But I think you're limited by what time you're at in your career. So I've always seen in my head like, okay, this is a project I want to do.
Right.
This in my head, this is how it should look. And I would try to do that to the best of my abilities and capabilities at the time, you know? Whatever I had, I would try to make it towards that. So in my head, I've always seen it, but it's the practice that helps you get to that point.
Right.
To help learn those skills and like, why does this look that way? Why does this shot look like that? And it only helps with time. You know, talent's always like a huge thing.
Right, 100%.
But you gotta work hard.
100%.
You gotta work hard.
There's this quote, I like that. I don't know if it goes exactly like this, but it's like, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Yes, 100%. Dude, 100%. Ever since I've heard that one, it's like, that's a great point.
100%.
Because I'll get compliments like that early on. They were like, man, like, you're pretty talented. Like, you know, you're good at this. And like, I was like, cool. But it's easy to lose that. It's very easy to lose that. And I think I learned a lot of that from sports. Basketball, Kobe.
Right.
Kobe. That's a main example, like, of somebody who was not the most talented coming in. You know, he was still tough.
Right.
But he had to work day in and day out to get to those certain points to become Kobe Bryant, you know? And ever since then, I've just taken that sports motive mindset and just brought it to film. So I'm always on that. I'm like, man, like if I was playing a sport right now, I'd be practicing every day.
Right.
When I was playing basketball, I was playing every single day, all day, every day. And I'm like, man, if I want to be good at this, I'm going to have to do this. I have to. Like, this has to become my life. So ever since then, I've just been hooked on trying to get to that point.
I love that. All right, this is a good interview. I'm loving this.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to the Oscar thing.
Okay.
You want to win an Oscar.
Yes.
So my question to you is, what is it that is fueling you to want to be the greatest?
I feel like that anything that you put your time and effort into, you should want to be the best at. Genuinely, the best that you can be.
Right.
And I have that in my room. I have a whiteboard that I had from that day when I made that decision. I had a checklist of things I wanted to do. And the one at the end is become the greatest filmmaker of all time. And it's circled in red, and the dry erase marker is so old that it's cracking up there. And I've just had that one up there as like that motivation. And I think it honestly just comes from like that sports side of things. Like, I don't just want to be okay with just being a mediocre filmmaker. I don't want to just put out a couple films and be like, you know, I tried.
Right.
You know, or it was just like, I did a little bit of that back in my day. I want to say that I went and I attacked. I gave it all that I had. Like, really went for it.
Right.
To become the greatest. And I truly believe that I can be.
I truly believe it too.
I truly believe that.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
We're going to come back to all the people watching. We're going to spin back maybe like 5-10 years, do a part 2 about it, see where he's at.
For sure.
I'm calling it right now though. Right, let's move on to the next question, right?
Okay, what's up?
So your mom was a huge influence in your life.
Yes.
Is there another person in your life that planted a seed in you to, you know, want to be a filmmaker or want to be the greatest?
I want to say, I can't say that person as a whole, but I was given some really good advice.
Yeah.
At one point in time.
Beautiful.
So I went to college for like a semester.
Right, same.
Yeah, like for like a semester, you know, fill it out. And I was in there for film. And I was going through these classes and, you know, they have you just edit some sample footage that everyone has and they're putting things together. And I was talking to the professor at the time. But he was telling me, he was like, dude, like, honestly, you don't need this. Like, you don't need this to get to where you want to be. You know, as long as you stay focused and then you're committed to the journey, if you're truly passionate about this, this isn't the only way to do it. And I feel like you're not going to learn much here. And that was the realest advice I could have gotten.
Right.
Because he didn't have to do that. Like, this is his job. Like, he's supposed to keep students in seats. But because of that, he gave me some tips and connected me with some people to get me on set. And it was just through that small conversation that we had after class where I finally got some on-set experience, you know, started to feel it out a little bit. And it's crafted my journey. But through that one conversation, it's helped me realize, I was like, man, it's like, it really is up to you. You know, as long as you're willing to work hard for it, you can achieve that.
Do you remember his name?
Oh my goodness. I don't remember his name. I think that's the craziest part. But I'm going to find it.
Right.
And I'm going to email him. I'm going to email him. I promise I'm going to email him.
Shout out Professor. If
shout out Professor, bro.
We gonna make sure
shout
he
out
sees
Professor,
this.
Bro.
For real.
It was mostly an online class. And then we had like one meeting in person. That's why. But I'm definitely gonna find that and reach out to him. I think it would be a super cool thing.
100%. I think he would love to see what you're doing right now and see that how positively he affected you. You know what I'm talking about? You could damn near say that he changed your life almost.
Yes, 100%. I would have been wasting time in that class and, you know, and then just taking it, because I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I've never been a big fan of like just that film school side of things. But no, shout out to him. Like, he gave me some invaluable like advice on life. That was like huge. But no, it's been amazing ever since.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Yeah.
So you were working with Toon Beauties.
Yes.
And after that, you started getting into the running space for your personal work, right? How did you transition from working with cars into a completely different field with athletes and with, you know, running?
I want to say when I first got into video, I believe cars got difficult. A lot of times, like, you know, what we were doing is like, you can have someone pull up with a car and you could just film, you could just shoot it right there. Take a bunch of pictures, it'd be super cool, it doesn't move. But to be able to do video with cars was just a little hard to do at the time. Like, you know, you need a second car, then you need to be able to roll it, and, you know, it was a lot of steps to it. So I was sitting at home and I was on YouTube just looking at a bunch of different videos and stuff. And I found out about spec ads. And for, I guess, those who don't know, spec ads are basically what filmmakers do. You make the content that you would want to sell to someone. Essentially, like, if you want to start shooting branded like commercials, a spec ad would be just you doing it on your own. Like, you're going out and making, to the best of your ability, like a replica commercial to be able to promote that, to be able to book those type of jobs. So I was seeing that, you know, one of my best friends, Nas, Running Mastermind.
Shout out Running
Mastermind. We came home from college at the same time. It was during 2020. He's a runner. He was running in college at the time. And we were both kind of like, man, you know, like, we kind of want to just do something or figure something out. And we was like, what if we try to like start doing a spec ad? So the first one we did was a Saucony spec ad. No, actually, we just did a workout of him first. We just did a workout. I was there with the camera, just filming that. It was like maybe 7 shots. But it was like, oh, okay, like, you know, this could probably be something. And then it turned into, hey, let's actually try to like clean this up and make it, you know, quote unquote cinematic. So that was the first attempt at that. And that was my entry into the running world, because me and him to this day, we still do a ton of different videos, you know, and it's even crazy to see from the first video all the way to the most recent one. But no, it was because of that led me into the running space. And I was like, man, like, running's beautiful.
It is.
You know, we're put on this earth, and like, that's something that, you know, almost everyone can do. Everyone can run. And I've found love for like filming that over the years. I want to say he used to work at this shoe store, and they were seeing some of the videos that we were putting out. And they were like, man, like, these are really good, you know? And at the time, they hit him up for it. They were like, hey, man, we should do a video. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. And he's thinking like, yeah, they want me to model in it. And we were like, okay, cool. But they thought he was the director. But my account at the time was only those videos. So it looked like he was me. So that was the initial confusion of that. But after we connected and that sort of thing, I got my first paid video job, and it was doing like shoe commercials. It was like a little shoe content for social media.
Who was that for?
Fleet Feet. Shout out to Fleet Feet. I still do a lot of work for Fleet Feet. So like, they were the first ones to give me my first paid video job. So ever since then, I've developed this like love for running from a visual aspect. You know, I run occasionally. I run like 2 times a week or something like that. Nothing too crazy. I don't love running, but seeing running, experiencing that, you know, being around that community, going to the marathon. You know, I was like, I shoot the marathon every year.
Chicago Marathon?
The Chicago Marathon. I've just fell in love with it from that point, and that's always been something that I'm very grateful that I was able to tap into, because it's like, everybody runs, and running's only becoming more popular.
Yeah, 100%.
It's only becoming more popular, and I love being able to put my own spin on what running looks like.
So you were working a lot with running, right? As you just said. Now you're working working a lot with Vados. So Vados Running, did you know the creators of Vados before you started filmmaking, or is this someone that you came in contact with because of filmmaking?
It was actually because of running, I would want to say, because the first time I ever saw Vados was the brand post. It was the original clothing, because it started off as the brand and then it turned into the Run Club to build the community aspect of things. But I saw the hoodies and I was like, man, this is sick. Like, you know, and then I started putting together, I was like, oh, it's a Run Club. And I was like, oh, that's different.
Right.
I was like, that's actually different. I never really see it like that, you know? Normally it's just like some big brand logo slapped on top of something and people just be like, hey, this is our merch.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I was like, man, this is actually pretty different. And I think a lot of it was seeing that I didn't realize that it was down the street from me. So I was like, man, let me go out and just run. Let me go for a run. I've been debating it for a while, and all the other run clubs were in the city. You know, that's like a 30, 45-minute drive, depending on the time, you know? So I went there and then I was really just running. You know, I introduced myself and like, you know, said what I did and all those sort of things, but it didn't turn into anything until, let's say almost like 6 months later. 6 months later, so literally at the top of the year, January.
Right.
January 1st, I want to say we started talking when I met Abe and Justin, you know, and we started talking ideas because they were already seeing like, man, like, you know, you and Nas, you know, running Mastermind, putting out some cool stuff, and like, we feel like we could all figure out something and work together on it. So that started that relationship early with it. So that's really just been this year on. We've been constantly turning and figuring out how we can shape running into something that fits us, fits the people that we love and the people that's around us. Because, you know, a lot of times running is not cool to everyone.
Right.
It's not cool to everyone. And then depending on what community you're from, it's not big there. It's not very popular. So we were like, man, how do we make running appeal to our people? So that's when we started bringing in elements of our personal like lives, cultures, that sort of thing.
I love it. Yeah, shout out Vados, bro.
Shout out Vados. Shout out Vados.
Okay, cool. So music videos. Around January of 2022, you shot a music video for an artist called The Original, correct?
Yes.
Let's see.
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
And the song was called Call You Up.
Call You Up, yes, okay.
Was this your first ever music video?
That was my first music video ever.
What was that experience like?
Honestly, we were just freestyling. We were just trying to figure out, like, you know, how can we really do this, you know?
Right.
I was watching a bunch of music videos beforehand. Like, man, how do we even do this? I think at that time, we were just messing around because he, at the time, was just starting too. I want to say that was his first song. So we were just playing around with that, trying to figure it out. I mean, I think even at one point, we took a break to watch another music video to be like, man, how do they do this? Like, you know? And no, that was the first time I generally tried to make like a full-length music video. But it was a fun experience. It was definitely a fun experience, and it was something that I'll definitely never forget. Yeah, I'll definitely never forget, let's say that.
And just recently you shot another music video.
Yes.
Right? So this music video is $12.22.
Yeah, $12.22, yeah.
$12.22 by the artist Anada.
Yes.
Right? First of all, this was shot here. Just so
Yes.
that people know, this was shot here.
This is literally shot here, just this whole spot right here.
Right.
We just jumped around and tried a bunch of things, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful song. The video was amazing.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
So what's the plan with the music videos? Is this like a space that you want to jump more into, or is this just something that kind of just came along and you were happy with it? You know, talk to me about if you have any plans with music videos.
Right. Originally when I was trying music videos, I think it was more of less like, it's just something you try when you get into videos. You know, people always ask me, man, you know how to shoot a music video? Especially early on.
Right.
That's why they're always like, man, like shoot me on a music video. So, and, you know, a lot of times, me personally, when I bring the camera out for anything, I want to feel passionate about it. Not just about how I'm filming it, but what I'm filming. So because I took a long break from music.
Right.
I didn't put out anything music, and that was intentional because I wanted it to be the right artist. You know, I'm a big R&B person at heart.
Right.
That's my favorite genre. So I want to say it was 2 years ago. I want to say it was 2 years ago. I was just on Instagram. I'm like, man, like I want to tap back into music, but I want to do it the right way. I want it to be with an artist that I really like. I was like, man, I really like their music. And I ran across Anara's stuff, and I was like, she was doing a cover, I want to say of a Sade song. I was like, man, she's talented.
Right.
I was like, man, she's actually like amazing singer.
Right, beautiful voice.
Beautiful voice. And I want to say I hit her up and I was like, hey, like, you know, if you're ever looking into this. And at the time, I want to say I think she had written some songs.
Right.
But I'm not sure if she recorded anything. We were like, okay, cool. So it was like a on and off process. It was like, you know, sometimes life gets in the way of planning and all those sort of things. But we finally made it happen this summer. We were like, okay, cool. It has been like a legit 2 years of like planning. We had the concept down. We were figuring out wardrobe. You know, she handled all of that, the set design, all that sort of thing. She's very talented in that aspect. And we were like, okay, it's finally time to make it happen. And I love the song. I was like, I love her music.
Right.
Like we actually had a couple different songs that we were choosing between, but that one always felt like, yes, this story has to be told. So it was just, I want to say we shot it beginning of August, but it was just an incredible experience. She's amazing to work with. So to your question is that I'm open to music. I'm 100% open to music, but it has to be something I love. Not even just like, I have to love the music.
Right.
Love the music, and then at that point it comes the person. It has to be enjoyable to work with that person. You have to be able to, like, you got to think about the way you guys bounce like ideas off each other creatively, you know. And for me and her, we really just clicked on that standpoint. We're like, okay, cool. Like, she saw based on my other work, it's like, this makes sense for me. And the crazy part is, it was like we both took almost like a leap of faith right there, because it was like she only saw, at that point, you only saw running content on my account, and she's like, music, oh, you know, I don't know. Like, she could have just been like, I don't know, but she saw the style of things and was like, you know, she saw the vision past that. And for me personally, I'm like, man, like, I'm hearing the song, it sounds like the stuff that I grew up listening to, the stuff that I fell in love with, the music that actually makes you feel something. There's a story there.
Right.
So I'm like, I can see it. So we both took that chance, and we love the outcome. We love the outcome. That's, to this day, one of my favorite projects ever.
Obviously, you had the original music video.
Yeah,
but it wasn't the greatest music video.
Right.
But this was amazing. So
yes,
I'm glad to hear that, you know, it was a fun time shooting it. That's something you loved. And I'm glad to hear that Anara was great to work with. Shout out her.
Yes, shout out her.
All right, so you work with a mixture of creatives, or you have worked with a mixture of creatives. Is there a specific space that you enjoy working with the most? Is it running? Is it music? Is it, you know?
So at the moment, I would like to put running and music like hand in hand.
Okay.
Because I love where we are like right now in the running space as well. Like for the most recent Vados video, it's the Heartbreak collab one.
Right.
And that one took a lot of inspiration from films I watched growing up. You know, and I think personally my heart is that we're leaning towards putting out some short films. We're gonna be putting out some short films soon. So that's where I'm like, #1 is where we're going. You know, film, movies, that's where we're going. But I love music and I love the running space in that aspect, but I would definitely put film over that.
Valid answer. Sounds about right from you know, Darius Baker, the filmmaker.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about the Real Bakery.
Yes.
Right. First of all, fire ass name. When I saw the name, I was like, bro, the Real Bakery. This is fucking fire.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man.
So let's talk about what that is and why you created it.
Real Bakery is my production company. I created it because I remember when I was first on TV and movie sets, that sort of thing. I was a PA. You know, everyone starts as a production assistant. You know, and at that point, you're really just helping out with whatever anybody needs. And you know, I was doing a couple jobs of that, and I'm kind of seeing the way people are treated. You know, it really is like a totem pole. Like, and you're at the bottom of it in that point.
Right.
Like, you're almost like disposable in that aspect. I was like, dude, like, there's a ton of people who I see go through and I have conversations with them. I'm like, man, like, you know, how long you been doing this, you know? And they're like, man, I've been here like 15 years, like, you know, man, like, that's crazy. And then their dream job is to do something that's like, just to hold something for someone. And I was like, no, but like, what did you actually want to do in life? You know, like in the film space. He was like, man, I always wanted to like be a cinematographer.
Right.
Or I always wanted to try these sort of things. I was like, man, why did you never do that? He was like, well, you kind of just got to wait your turn. So I'm like, man, I was like, I didn't really like that. And then I view it as like, he was me 15 years ago, just getting on set, just being like, man, like, I'm just hope. Like, everybody sees you come on set with like all this energy and they're like, oh, he's gonna like get rid of that soon. Like, you know, it's gonna kill that for him. And I was like, man, I didn't like that. And when I was on set one of the times, I was talking to the director at the time, and he was super chill. Like, he was like, dude, like, what do you want to do? You know, it was a very small set, which I was very grateful for, because the huge ones, you have like no opportunity to talk to people. And he was like, man, I was like, at the time, I was just taking photos. Like, I was doing BTS a little bit on set as well. And he was like, man, you want to do that here? I was like, for sure. And I'm happy because I have my camera in my bag. And then I was doing that for him. He's like, man, like, honestly, you should just keep making your own stuff, which was another person to give me some solid advice.
Right. First person was the professor.
Exactly. And from that point on, I was like, dude, I would like to have my own production company to where people are actually given a chance. We're actually able to build all these things together. We're actually able to grow together. And I've noticed the one thing I've truly noticed, especially this year in film, is that after a certain while, people will start to open up to you about what they're passionate about. Like, there's so many people that I walk past all the time and had so many conversations with, I didn't find out till like a couple months later. It was like, man, I always want to be an actor. I was like, we need that. That's what I'm saying. It was like, at this point in time, it was like, man, let's all grow together. So I was like, Real Bakery can be the home for that. I'm able to control the aspects of like, hey, like nobody's getting just scooped to the side. Like nobody's just being like neglected just to help out. Like if somebody truly wants to help me, it was like, man, let's see what everyone can do. Let's all grow together. Let's all make these type of films. From then on, I was like, man, I have to do something with that. And then Real Bakery, my last name's Baker. So it was like,
I didn't even put that. I just put it like you're baking, like you're cooking stuff up.
That's what I was like. It's like movie Real, and then my last name's Baker, the Real Bakery. And it's just,
it works. It's
it works.
Full circle.
It works. And I think when I got the name, I was like, oh, this is supposed to happen. Heavy on when I go and film, I always want to bring someone around who's passionate about it. And since then, I've just been, you know, and whether that's something like just the friends or like anybody else, or like people reach out to me randomly, like, hey, like I see all your stuff, like I just want to help out. Some people just, man, I just want to come kick it.
Right.
I just want to see it happen. But on normal sets, you don't really get that. You'll get lost in the emails. You won't really be able to like have those conversations with people. And I would like to be that person instead of just being disregarded like I was before. So because of that, it's helped a ton. And people are super passionate about it. I'm surrounded by like-minded people who want to just get it done, like by any means necessary. You know, even to the music video, we're filming that, we had started losing sunlight. Like, oh, now I'm just with a bunch of the friends who are just trying to help out. And like, man, let's just figure this out, and they're helping carry, and that wouldn't have been possible without the help from friends.
I love that. I want to bring up Lyrical Lemonade. So Cole Bennett has recently stepped away from directing every single music video, and because of that, he's given the opportunity to a lot more directors to come to Lyrical Lemonade and have an opportunity to make something together. So if Cole Bennett was to DM you or Lyrical Lemonade and they were like, hey Darius, we like your work, we want you to come work for Lyrical Lemonade for a year, is that an opportunity that you would take? Or as much as you appreciate it, is that something you would deny because you want to continue doing your own thing?
You know, like a lot of us, like we all grew up with Lyrical Lemonade,
right? And
I love Cole Bennett and everything he does. So I think it'd be a good opportunity for exposure and also being able to grow a lot of things. But if it came at the expense where I would basically have to just disregard, like, you know, Real Bakery, I couldn't do it. If there was a way I'm able to balance it, which, you know, if the opportunity came, I hope it would be, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would definitely do that. I feel like you can learn a lot with it. And I love a lot of the director's work that he's put in that place. Like AMD Visuals. He shoots a lot Yachty stuff.
Oh yeah?
Yachty's cinematographer. And I'm like, man, I'm loving like just the change of just the styles of it.
Right.
So I think 100%, if the opportunity was there and it's able to be, if it makes sense, I would love to do it. That's like a dream to be able to shoot a Lyrical Lemonade video. That's like
100%.
That's sick, but not at the expense of the personal goals.
Right.
They mean too much.
Yeah, that's fair. That's honestly the right choice. So I think
100%.
So your portfolio, how else would you like to expand your portfolio? Is there any like specific people that you would like to work with?
Specific people. You know, at this point for a lot of my work, I don't really have like a specific person. I feel like running wise, I've been like, cool, we checked a lot of boxes in the running space as far as what I would like to do. Music, I guess it really just depends on the artist. Some of my favorite artists have been like Brent Fayez.
Shout out Brent, bro. I was listening to him on the way here. So.
Yeah, bro. Brent Fayez would be tough. That would be extremely tough. Daniel Caesar, always been a fan of that. Always been a fan of Daniel. Giveon has great visuals. I would love to work with him at some point in time. But in the film space, that's where I would be like, that'd be huge.
That's your bread and butter?
Bread and butter? Yeah, my bread and butter, bro. Like, I see a lot of the films I have, like, you know, writing ideas and stuff. I see actors for that at some point in time. 70K Brown, one of my favorite. Have you seen Waves?
Waves. Was that on Netflix?
No, I think it was like, but he's one of my favorite actors current today. And I was like, I like to think like, man, like, you know, I would want to write something for him, you know, different people like that. But as far as adding to the portfolio for the moment, I think it's a lot more focused on putting out short film, putting out more narrative driven work. Because this is where I was like, man, I love running and I love music, but you know, that's where my heart is. But if some good music comes along, I'll add to it. You know, if a crazy running gig comes up and they're like, hey, let's do this and that with this brand, for sure. But my heart is definitely in the next couple months will be a lot more narrative film.
So it's been a long journey. You know, it's been 5 years for the film, but really your creative career started when you were working with Toon Beauty, right?
Yes.
So how would you say that this journey has shaped you as a person? Talk to me about, you know, some of the lows and talk to me about some of the highs that you've experienced.
You know, I think when I started accepting my creativity and started embracing it more so, I felt more full as a person. Because there was, after sports, there was a little gap It
Right.
was like, man, like what do I really want to do? And and you throw out a couple ideas and you try a couple of things, but is it really something that like resonates with you? Ever since then, the more I've, brought myself into that artistic space of like, man, this is who I am, I felt more fulfilled as a person. So in terms like I carry that differently now.
Right.
You stop overthinking a lot of things about, I guess, more or less life.
Mm.
More or less life. I'm not stressing over so many things because I feel very confident in where I am in life and my purpose. It's been, I can't even describe how how much it's been for me to step into that side and, own being a creative. That's been huge ever since.
So now let's talk about the lows in your career, right?
Okay.
I think lows are a very important part of everybody's career.
Yes.
Because that's when you either quit or when you grow.
I think some of the lows would be thinking I had it all figured out or I had like a routine down and then it going wrong in a shoot. Like I've had shoots where, memory cards fail on me or last second this person is like, oh, they can't make it. And then this happens and then all these things fall apart. And, at those times, it does feel crazy. It does feel like, man, like I might not get this opportunity again. It might be over for me, because of how big and how important the jobs are. But a lot of it is that you can't beat yourself up too much about it. There's gonna be slip ups.
Right.
Everyone tells you that. Nobody has gotten to any point of their life without messing up a couple of times. And I think that's important to say because a lot of times it's not portrayed on social media.
Right.
You would think everybody shoots 100% from the field.
Right.
They say, I'm only winning.
Right.
But no, there's definitely a lot of downsides in that. There's a lot of projects in my life that I wanted to put out over the years that just didn't happen because of certain circumstances. And it's literally just like, I like to view it as it happened for a reason. I believe everything happens for a reason. It might suck today, but it could lead to something amazing down the line. It's like, maybe that wasn't it for the moment. Like it could have been a great idea. Some of my favorite videos have been ideas that were years ago. They just make sense now. At first I'm like, man, I would want to do this, but all these variables and then something didn't happen. Like something happened where I wasn't able to do it. And over time I'm like, man, like this, I had an idea for this. And this actually ties back to my original thought. So it just comes back in a prettier package later on. So I love that, and I think a huge part of it is just pushing forward.
Got to.
You have to.
Right.
You have to. I know that in my career, I'm going to have some slip ups,
Right.
I'm going to put out some stuff that people probably won't like,
Right.
and some stuff that people probably will love.
Right.
But it's part of the journey.
100%.
It's part of the journey. Nobody's ever gotten to the top or at least, somewhere they want to be without messing up. So I think that's just a huge part to just acknowledge and journey. Once you realize that like, I'm going to fail at some point, but you have to keep moving forward. And I think after that, it's smooth sailing.
You gotta embrace it.
You
Can't
gotta,
be afraid of it.
yeah, you gotta be
Right.
prepared for like, this might go bad, but you at least have to try. You at least have to try. Some people are scared of messing up, but it's like, who really cares at that point?
Right.
Everybody messes up. Everybody slips up sometimes, but as long as you're staying consistent, I think the sky's the limit. I truly believe that.
Especially with God. Forget how the lyrics go for J. Cole, but it's like, if you believe in God and you ain't aim too high, then you aim too low. That's some real shit he said.
That's real.
Yeah, shout out J. Cole, one
Shout
of my
out
favorite
J.
artists.
Cole. He's up there for me.
He's up there. He's one of my favorites, for real.
Shout out J. Cole.
For real. J. Cole, let me get an interview.
Cole.
He don't be doing interviews, for real. He don't be doing interviews unless the album's about to drop.
Man.
So next time we'll see him, it's gonna be when
I see it for you, bro. I see it for you. But to that point, who else would you like to interview? What are your dream interviews?
So J. Cole is definitely one. I ain't gonna lie though, I haven't put too much thought into this because like all famous people have already been interviewed or are currently getting interviewed, right?
Right.
So like my goal right now is to interview as many talented, creatives that don't have that spotlight on them. Kind of think of it like No Jumper, but without all the drama bullshit.
Right.
I just want to find that talent before they get to here. You feel me?
Fire.
I want to be that one person where it's like, hopefully help their career early on with some exposure or just make the connections. Because like something that I'm very passionate about is humans, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, right? I want to get to know different people. I want to hear about different people, hear different stories. Who's someone else that I find interesting? I wish Bob Marley was still alive. I would have loved to interview Bob Marley.
Goodness. There's so many people like that.
So many people.
That was like, they just aren't here.
Right.
Like for me, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams
is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Definitely goated, bro.
And I'm like, I wish I could have been able to have him in like a movie. That would have been a dream. That would have been an absolute dream, dude.
Nah, shout out Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, man. I love that dude.
But yeah, J. Cole, 100%. Michael Jackson would have been cool, but
Mike.
The GOAT.
Yes.
The actual GOAT. Let me think of one more real life person.
Who's your current favorite artist right now? Like who you bumping right now?
The Marias, Daniel Caesar, and J. Cole.
I can't say that I've seen a Maria's
The
interview.
Marias?
I haven't seen too many Maria's interviews though.
They just recently came into like mainstream spotlight this past year, but they definitely got interviews though. But yeah, shout out the Marias. Maybe we can make something happen because I have a connection to the Marias, so we'll see. But
Okay, let's see it.
But we'll see. Well, yeah, the Marias would be cool. I would love to interview the
Okay.
Marias.
No, that'd be sick.
So I say the Marias, Daniel Caesar, J. Cole. Daniel Caesar just because he's a lover boy just like me. So
Dude.
shout out Daniel.
I'm right with you, bro.
Okay, cool. That's pretty much everything that I have for you.
Okay.
You know, let's end it off on giving a piece of wisdom or advice to anybody that's watching. I think that it's very important for us as the older generation to really try to lead the younger generation into the right path. I think that a lot of young people idolize people that may not be the most, you know, positive influence.
Right.
So let's just finish it with that, right? Let's finish it with a piece of wisdom or advice for anybody that's watching.
Dude, and especially say for like the youth. I know it's very easy to fall into those like traps of like social medias and like, this is what life should look like, you know? If you go on your phone and scroll for like 2 seconds, you'll see somebody Lamborghini,
Right.
you know, big mansion, you know, millions of views. But it wasn't always that way, you know? There's a ton of people on that journey that are still working towards those sort of things. And I think a huge thing is to notice that that's not all there is in the world. That's not all there is to life. You know, I think above everything, it's important to be happy with what you're doing. And it goes for anything in life. You know, that's not even just creativity or just, you know, like art in general, but it's like your 9 to 5 or just
Right.
like, man, if you love school, just like embrace that.
Right.
As long as you're happy doing what you want to do, then nobody can tell you anything.
100%.
Nobody can tell you anything, man. I know a lot of times, like you go on, you see videos and they try to tell you that it's like, man, this isn't the way. Or like, you know, a lot of people are like snake oil salesmen. Like they're just selling you all these different ideas and lifestyles and, you know, they're not beneficial to you.
Right.
They only tear you down. They only put you in, you know, in a bad place mentally because comparison is the thief of joy.
100%.
Comparison is the thief of joy, you know? A lot of people look at, they're like, man, why can't I have these things, you know? And at the end of the day, they really don't matter. They really don't matter. You know, as long as you're doing what makes you happy and that you have those people in life who care about you and like, you know, you're also sharing that same love for them, there's nothing that compares to that. Nothing at all.
That's some real shit you said.
Appreciate that.
That's some real shit. But yeah, man, that's all I have. So, you know, hopefully you enjoyed the interview. I know I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Definitely.
it. This is my first like actual like in-person interview.
Right.
Yeah, so this is huge. This is huge.
Right.
I appreciate it, man.
Nah,
I appreciate
yeah.
you for having me.
Nah, man, it was lit. No, thank you for coming. You know,
Oh,
I
bro.
appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Bringing me to this beautiful place. Nah, that's lit. All right, my man, that's it. Let me appreciate you one more time, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You guys hear that? That nice little...
Perfect
Right.
daps every single time. Perfect daps.
For real. Oh, yeah, before we go,
Yeah.
where can people find you on Instagram?
My name is Darius Baker Jr. on Instagram, on every platform. Check it out. We got some cool stuff coming for the future, man. We're putting out a bunch of different short films and all that sort of thing. But follow me if you can, man. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so this was episode 2, you know, with Darius Baker Jr. We'll see who we got next, man. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you guys watch it on YouTube, appreciate you. If you watch the clips, appreciate you. But stay blessed, man.
yeah.